Once upon a time, two retired teachers decided to convert their garage into a pottery studio. Along with their daughter and son, they built a business around the idea that the world could use a little more art and a lot more artists. We're the Kaya family. Welcome to Wocky Pots. Hi everybody, how you doing? How you been? How are things? Shane and Diana here for coffee time number 76 at Wocky Pots Studio. So good to be back in front of the camera again, you guys. I know it's been a while. We're a little bit later getting this out, but we have so many things to talk about. Lots of things have been happening and lots of stuff coming up. You want to give us a quick summary of what we're going to talk about today?
Alrighty. Well, we're going to begin by talking about all of those things that have been going on, and there have been a lot. Mm-hmm. We have a question from a viewer that we're going to answer, and then we'll be talking about all the things going on this coming week. Mm-hmm. So, of course, as you see in front of us, we don't have our usual coffee mugs.
Nope, we don't have our usual coffee mug today because something special's been happening for the last, actually, couple weeks.
Yes.
So we went to see the movie Superman the opening weekend. We didn't go opening day. We went the Saturday or Sunday after our market appearance. So we went Sunday morning, bright and early, 9:30 a.m. I have never gone to a movie that early ever in my whole life. But Diana, Christopher, and I went to see Superman, and we got a couple of souvenir things.
We did. And not only that, we're going to put the picture in because we weren't sitting in clothes like this. Oh, no.
We had matching shirts.
We have never done that in our life, guys. But it was special because, as you know, Superman is his hero.
He's my hero.
And just wanted everything. So he had gotten the shirt. So I decided when we got to that theater, if they had any kind of souvenirs, I was going to splurge and I was going to get it for him. And so sure enough.
And we got our Superman cups with Superman sitting eating popcorn. We'll show you a close-up picture of that too. And we also got this giant popcorn can. It's made out of metal. In fact, I know it's made out of lead. And the reason I know it's made out of lead is because my X-ray vision does not penetrate into the popcorn bucket. So I know it's made out of lead. It's not actually made out of lead. Yes. It's tin or something like that. Steel.
Yeah.
But it's an awesome metal popcorn bucket. We love it with a lid.
And I have to say, I so enjoyed the movie. I think it's one of the best movies I have seen in such a long time.
It returns Superman to what he was when I was a kid. And although I love every iteration of Superman, there's not a single iteration of Superman that I think was bad. This particular version is filled with hope and happiness. Yes. And he smiled more times in this one picture than he has in every other Superman picture combined.
Yes.
He did a great job.
And right now, it's very important to have hope.
That's right. Yep.
So we all need hope. And in fact, I got to say this. I know I won't remember the quote, but I'm going to stick the quote in. But it's also filled with lots of really good quotes that, you know, I'm one of those people, I like to kind of collect quotes. And so one of the ones that was in it that really meant a lot to me and I thought was so good was the one where he said, I'm as human as anyone.
Right. That's a great quote.
And he said, I get up every day, I make mistakes, and
we'll put the quote up.
Yeah, I can't remember it exactly, but it was so good. Yes.
It was awesome. And then the one time that Lois was talking to Superman, and she said, you see the beauty in everything. And then Superman said, well, maybe that's the real punk rock. And it was awesome. It was really fantastic. If you get a chance to see the movie, it was real good. And that's the explanation for why we have this here. But get this, right? I didn't just go one time. I went twice. So I went this past Friday, a couple days ago, with Carolyn and her boyfriend James, and we did the same thing. We had the Superman shirts, and we did the whole Superman experience. And the movie was even better the second time. So if you get a chance, do go see it. It was fantastic.
Yeah, so it was a good thing.
Yep.
Yes. We had, this past weekend, many of you will have seen the short. Mm-hmm. We had 1,000 pounds of clay arrive.
We've never purchased enough clay to actually have them delivered to the studio, but we ordered 20 cases, 50-pound cases of clay, 1,000 pounds of clay, and it was delivered by tractor and trailer. And now we know a tractor trailer can back down our driveway.
Yes.
It's a very small driveway, but they did it.
But they did it. Mm-hmm. They got into it, and he unloaded it, and then we had to bring each box in.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
A lot of work.
So, but anyway, Christopher and you did the majority of them, and I did like 4.
But guys, we're never going to drive to get clay again, probably, because even with having it delivered, it still is cheaper than us. The actual clay is cheaper than us driving to Norristown, Pennsylvania to get it. And then when you consider all the hours in traffic and the miles on the truck and the time away from the studio, it just does not make economical sense for us to take a day to drive to buy clay that is more expensive than having the clay delivered. Even with the delivery, it was still less than $1 a pound, even figuring in all the delivery charges.
Yes, and you have to think a lot of times it's like $1.68 a pound, otherwise. So, you get a big discount when you purchase more.
That's
so
right.
It makes more sense to get a large amount at a time if you're going to go through it. And we finally reached the point that we were like, you know what? We're there. We're going
We're making
through
that
a
much.
lot. And it's like, wow.
And I know you're probably wondering what clay we went with, because it was 1,000 pounds of one kind of clay. And as much as I love the Sheltoe Brown, we decided to go with Kentucky Mudworks Iceman, because the Sheltoe Brown, as far as I'm concerned, is a 10 out of 10 for throwing on the wheel. The Iceman clay is a 9 out of 10 for throwing on the wheel. As far as glazing goes, I'd put the Sheltoe Brown at 8 out of 10, but the Iceman clay is a 10 out of 10 for glazes. So it just barely makes better sense for us to use the Iceman clay predominantly here in the studio. Of course, we will still carry a couple cases every once in a while of the Sheltoe Brown or other kinds of clay, definitely Raku clay and things like that.
Right.
But the majority of our production here in the studio is going to shift over to Iceman clay from Kentucky Mudworks. We like it enough that we're confident in our ability to use 1,000 pounds.
And the glazes just pop on it, and so you can get such vivid, bright colors. And
that's super important. So many people come up to our market table and they comment on all the colors. It is a rainbow of colors on our table, and we're kind of leaning into that. Yes, it's more work to make a lot of different glaze combos. Definitely more work to paint the glazes onto the pieces, but it pays off because people actually love it. They really, really do. And I guess they do love it because we've sold how many pieces so far this year? Just this year in the market season, 532 pieces have flown off of our table.
And that's been about 2 months.
In about 2 months.
Yeah.
And that means in about 2 months we've sold 94 mugs in that short 2 month time.
Yeah.
And that's a lot. So to keep up with that, we have lots and lots of clay, and we're going to keep popping out those new glaze combos, and I think it's going to be great.
Yeah. This past Wednesday was really funny at the market.
Holy cow. Wednesday was nuts, you guys. It was crazy sauce.
It really was, because we got there. Oh my gosh, it was so steamy hot. And I was like, oh, I don't know how we're going to make it through the day. And then these clouds started in the distance, and
we're checking radar the whole time.
Yes,
like the radar showed
radar.
nothing on the radar. Like
And
we're constantly checking.
all of a sudden, the wind shifted, and I looked at you, and I'm like, something's coming. And I don't know, it wasn't that much longer.
We had 2 bouts of rain. The first bout of rain hit, and we're like, oh, yikes, this is a lot of rain, right?
Yeah.
And everybody's scrambling to get their stuff put away. And, of course, we didn't have anything to scramble because ceramics aren't affected by the rain. So we didn't really rush around trying to pull our stuff from the edges and all that stuff. And that was a pretty sizable rain. It lasted for 10 or 15 minutes, something like that. And then it stopped. The sun started to come out a little bit. We started thinking about drying stuff off. And then, like, in the blink of an eye, the sky turned black again, and God's fire hydrant opened over top of us.
I've never ever experienced
that downpour. It was like it was like having our tent pitched under Niagara Falls. It was intense. It was so intense that we had a family of 4 rush up to our tent, getting drenched, and we of course told them to get under our canopy and get out of the rain. And we were this far away shouting at each other, trying to be heard, and we still couldn't carry on a conversation. It was that loud.
It collapsed one of the other vendors' tents further down, and then other people were scrambling to cover their things so that they didn't get wet, things that couldn't get wet. And
thank goodness we decided to open a clay studio and not paper mache, right?
I know, really.
Oh, if we had been paper mache artists, we'd have been in deep doo-doo.
The other thing that at the market, there was another potter there this time. Michelle from Cape Charles Pottery.
Cape Charles Mudworks, is it?
I think
maybe?
so. I think
we'll
so.
have to look it up and see.
Yes. But yeah. Oh, she was delightful. I went over, introduced ourselves. We were so excited to talk about, and it was funny because she was using the Iceman clay also, and I could look at the combos that she had done and say, "Oh, that's," and she's like, "Yes," and she said, "But I'm having problems getting this one," and I said, "Oh," I said, "Here's one thing that I've done before."
It was great for them to have similar experiences.
Yeah, and I introduced her to Eden and Mike,
so there are 3 potters set up occasionally at the market, and they're fantastic people. We love
and
all of them.
it is so nice to be able to chat and talk with them, and of course, every potter always. You're never going to go to another potter and see pieces that look like yours.
Right.
Because everybody's different. You know, our hands make things, their hands make things.
We're very thankful to have other potters set up for the variety. Because let's face it, some people might not like our pottery, but then they go and get something from Flotsam and Jetsam, Eden and Mike, and maybe that's what they want. Maybe that's the perfect piece for them, and that we want that. That's a good
or
thing.
now Michelle, and it was wonderful. So I'm just so excited.
So it's great. It's great to see handcrafted pottery becoming a little more popular and a little more prevalent. That's a good thing.
Yes, it is a good thing. Let's see what else.
Oh well, as far as the Wednesday goes, that was it for the Wednesday.
Yes.
But that wasn't the sum of our week.
No, we did our glaze. We glazed on Tuesday. We pretty much glazed only on Tuesday. We did 2 hours on Monday. There was a lot happening, and when I say we, it was you and Christopher.
A lot.
And myself and
at least 4 pieces, you guys.
No, you glazed more than that. And Christopher glazed so many trinket dishes and all of the ornaments.
The trinket dishes are notable because he didn't just glaze them; he had made them the week before.
Yes.
So that was awesome.
And so it was nice for them to all turn out.
Right, and people commented on them and bought them. We sold lots of trinket dishes yesterday at the market.
Yes, and it was really nice too because. You know, they're like, "Oh, your son," and I'm like, "Yes."
And that's in addition to Carolyn also making things. She makes the raku horses, and she's made some other pieces, plates and stuff. And she also has her glass blowing products on there too. So she's got a couple bowls, and we actually sold a ring holder of hers. Was it yesterday?
Yes,
yesterday.
Yes, we did.
So yeah.
Yeah. So the glazing, thankfully, we were able to get it in Tuesday night. So that meant it came out a day earlier. And then that allowed us a little bit more time to get in the kiln unload videos because now we're doing the 2 of them.
And you guys seem to like that format where we're doing 2 videos. So we're going to continue with that format where we show 1 video of us taking the pieces out of the kiln, and then we'll do another video with Diana. Maybe occasionally I will pipe in too, but Diana showing the pieces and then showing the glaze combos that were used to achieve that.
And I have to say, all of the comments that we get, it's just so nice.
Thank you for the comments, folks.
Yes, I love it when people tell me what their favorite piece was, or, wow, I really like that combination. I'm going to try that one. Or, you know, have you thought to do this before? And it's just great. It just, I don't know. Some of you have commented so many times that I feel like we're neighbors. So it's
and
wonderful.
in fact, now's probably a good time to answer the question. Because the question came from a comment on one of our videos, and the question was from Amber, and she asked, "Do you trim all of your bowls and cups?" And the answer to that varies. I'll let Diana answer for her, and then I'll answer for me.
Alrighty then. So for my hand-built pieces, no, I really don't. When I make a hand-built piece, it's pretty much done. My little bit of trimming has to do with making sure that my edges are smoothed over, and I'm able to do that just with a damp sponge. It's very rare that I would have to actually do any trimming. I will say there was some trimming done, though, on the berry bowls.
Right, because that involved drilling holes into the leather hard
Yes.
clay.
Yeah, so there was that.
But for the most part, as far as
Yeah.
trimming bottoms and stuff, you don't have to
No.
touch that stuff. Once Diana makes it and it's done,
It's done.
then it's done.
Yeah.
And that's awesome for hand building. Story's a little bit different with me working with things on the wheel because the clay is usually too wet for me to be able to call finished when it's on the wheel. And also, in order to get altitude on taller things, I have to make them thicker with the idea that I will trim it later because both the Sheltoy brown clay that we use and the Iceman clay with no grog in them, that means that when they get thin, they get floppy. So I will make things thicker on purpose with the intention of removing some of that mass when I trim it on the wheel. And when I do trim it on the wheel, I turn the piece over and I try to achieve as smooth of a bottom as I can. And I do that with the help of a Giffen Grip Mini. And if you've been watching our videos, maybe you've seen this before, but the Giffen Grip allows me to clamp this onto the wheel and then get that nice trim. And more importantly, after the trim, I can also use a steel spoon or a wooden or a metal rib, and I can burnish the leather hard pottery, and that gives it a nice finish so that when it comes time to sand the bottoms, very little sanding is involved. When this is completely finished, the sanding on the bottom won't take 10 seconds. It'll literally be less than 10 seconds for me to get a super smooth finish on the bottom. Now, the pieces that you see in front of you here are ramekins that we have made for Hanson's Craftery, and we made some out of the white clay and some out of the brown. But the fun part for me really is the trim. Well, I mean, it is fun to make the stuff on the wheel. But I love trimming, and I love trimming the feet on some things, and I love trimming bands. We've got a really awesome bowl that maybe we can show a picture of, where I trimmed the bands on the wheel after the piece was made.
I don't like trimming.
So to answer the question, basically the short version is Diana doesn't trim very much when she's doing the hand building. I trim everything when I throw on the wheel. And it's not a long time consuming process for me because I use the Giffen Grip. If I had to center every piece myself and then put chocks on it to hold it in place, before I had the Giffen Grip, for example, that was kind of a chore and I didn't really love it. But I love it now because it's so easy. I just plunk it on the middle of the Giffen Grip, tighten it up, and it automatically centers it, and then trimming is a breeze. And then even after it comes out of the kiln, I will put it on the Giffen Grip often to sand the bottoms. Like if it's something round, I'll put it on the Giffen Grip and then use water and a sponge and a piece of sandpaper and get a nice smooth finish to it in seconds. So it doesn't take much extra time for that.
You make it look so easy, and
well, I guess maybe
I dig the clay up, guys, when I do.
Well, now that I'm thinking about it, it looks a little easier just because I've done it so much. If you trimmed the pieces as much as I trimmed them, it would be just as easy for you. Yes. But like anything, it requires a little bit of practice and a little bit of a soft touch. Like you have to think about it.
However, I will say I don't mind throwing on the wheel if he trims it.
We're a pretty good pair.
So anyway.
Hopefully, Amber, that answers your question.
Yes.
Thanks for that because it's a good question.
Yeah, and I'm glad we were able to go ahead and answer that question. I think we should do a market update, though.
Yep.
Because, the last time we did a market update, our number one seller were mugs.
Right, and they're still high on the list.
Yes, but they're
high.
No longer number one.
What is our numero uno this time?
Okay, number one now are ornaments.
Right, people love these ornaments.
And we have to talk about ornaments for a second because at the market on Saturday, we had our Shinkatig ornaments that you designed, and I've been, making them with our 3D stamp.
I designed it. We made a 3D, almost like cookie cutter for it, stamp, and that's what we used to make the ornaments.
Yes, and so Lexi, who is over the market, came over and she says, "Oh, I have to take a picture of these." She says, "Because I'm putting some marketing out this week and I want people to realize they can come to the market and get souvenirs." So
I'm glad she got there early.
Yes, because at the end of the day, She had never put this out yet, guys, but at the end of the day, we had no Shinkatig ornaments
sold
left.
every one of them.
And lo and behold, out comes this beautiful little thing. We'll stick her little picture up, but it was our ornaments and then like several things from a few of the other vendors that are kind of geared to Shinkatig. And I looked at him on the way home and I said, honey, I think I'm going to have to go out and make ornaments
We're
this
gonna have to
afternoon.
get busy.
We never, after a market, really come back in the studio and make, because we are exhausted.
Usually, when we get home from the market, it's the end of the day for us. Like we get up at 4:30 in the morning on a market day, and we are at the market and we set up, and then we're at the market until 1, and then we break down. Usually by 1:30 we're finished breaking down, and then by 2:15 we're back here at home, and we're done. Yeah. We're exhausted and we're finished for the day. But that was not the case yesterday.
No. So I called my cousin on the way home because I always give her the little market update, how the market went. She loves to know. And she says to me, you're going to go out and make ornaments? And I'm like, yeah.
We didn't want to.
She said, I'll come over and help.
Thank you very much, Karen, because yes. I wasn't much help at all making the ornaments.
Yes.
The only thing I did is trim up a couple pieces of mine. We'll talk about those in a minute. But Karen came and helped out big time.
Christopher came out. We sort of almost did an assembly line fashion of me stamping, her cutting the circles.
How many ornaments did you guys make yesterday?
6 dozen.
And that's 72 ornaments? They made 72 ornaments in a couple hours.
They're all back here on this rack drying,
And even though they made them yesterday, this is really not enough time. They're going in for a bisque firing. As soon as we're done filming this coffee time, we're going to put them in for a bisque fire. And then they should be glazed and on the table by next Saturday.
Yes, and it's important because the 25th of July is Friday, and this whole kind of weekend type thing is known as Christmas in July. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to have folks buying ornaments because of Christmas in July, and then pony penning is the following week, which is a big deal. It's the 100th anniversary, so there will be lots of people buying things to remember that it was the pony swim. So we had to get them done pretty fast.
So while they were making the ornaments, lots of them, and they worked so hard. Thank you again, Karen, for coming in and helping. The only thing I really was working on was trimming up these hearts, and I want to talk about these real briefly.
They're going to be really
these hearts made out of the Shelterly brown clay are, and I made way more than what's here. This is just to show you what they are. They are brown sugar keepers, and they're only going to go in for a bisque fire. When they're done, they're going to be this terracotta color, and this is here just for the color, so you can see what it is. But that's a nice, cute little bumblebee ornament.
It is.
They're going to be this color, and the idea is you will put the heart in a bag of brown sugar, and it will keep the brown sugar from getting all clumpy and dried up. That's the hope anyway. So I made a bunch of these, and they're going to be bisqued and ready to hit our table. They'll be hitting our table on Wednesday, in fact, because they don't require any glaze. Right. They're only going to get bisqued.
-1 because I have to put one in ours.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we're going to keep one of them. We're going to keep one of them for our own brown sugar bag.
That's right. We have to keep one. Alrighty. I think that takes care of everything that had been going on. Mm-hmm. And we can talk about some things happening this week because, there's not a downtime right now. Not during summer.
No,
there's never a downtime.
Super busy.
You have to think we stay super busy now, and the money that we're making now helps us pay our bills in the winter. Mm-hmm. So that's the way we look at it, and we can have a little bit more downtime in the winter. Not quite as much though.
We took too much downtime last winter, and we were unprepared for the sheer volume of pieces that flew off our table in the first few weeks.
Lesson learned. Mm-hmm. So, but alrighty then.
So a couple of interesting things coming up this week. The first is I'd mentioned, and I want to just mention this quickly in passing, I'd mentioned several weeks ago about getting a rock tumbler to tumble up pieces of broken pottery to make either mosaic tiles or possibly jewelry. I will be breaking that out and starting to tumble shards. And you can keep track of our YouTube channel for quick updates or shorts about that. But a big deal is Vivor sent us a kiln to test out. And we're going to be testing that little kiln. It's a very small kiln. The interior of the kiln is basically a 6-inch cube. So it's big enough for like a cup, but you wouldn't do something like this.
No.
Maybe a mug, but nothing
And no
tall.
bowls, I think.
Probably no
Not
bowls.
unless they were tiny
Maybe-
little condiments.
Maybe
or
a
mini
1
bowls.
pound bowl might do
Maybe.
it.
Okay.
But we're going to do a quick review of this because it's supposedly capable of mid-fire temperature. So we should be able to use our normal cone 6 glazes and techniques. And then we will also have a longer term review coming up in several weeks. And at that time, we'll also talk about its capabilities in other capacities. Eventually, within a few weeks, I need to know this. I want to know if we can go from a lump of clay to a finished glazed piece of pottery only by using that small kiln.
Right.
And that means doing something really weird and manually changing the temperature of the kiln to do a bisque fire. I'm not so much concerned about the glaze fires. I think the glaze fires will be just fine, but it has to. We have to be pretty picky with the bisque firing because if we're not, then we can get explosions and stuff.
Right, and we know that that has happened before because we tried to
do a bisque fire in our big raku kiln.
just of a raku piece
Right,
one
but
time
it was,
just to see.
It was too. The temperature increase was too dramatic, too fast. So in order for us to successfully do this, we have to be able to carefully regulate the temperature increase. Not so much the temperature decrease, but we have to get it to the right temperature much, much slower than we did in the raku kiln. And I'm not saying I can't do a bisque fire in the raku kiln. I'm just saying it would take most of a day to do that. And
you'd
it would
have
be
to-
very finicky.
You'd have to be
and
there
fiddly.
with it the whole time.
My hope is that we could do a bisque fire in this little kiln while we're in the studio doing other things. I can have a timer go off like on my phone or whatever and then go over to the kiln and change the temperature so that it's ramping
Okay.
up slower. And I'll do that in the course of doing other things here in the studio rather than having to babysit my propane-powered raku kiln all day. So we'll see. So
We'll be playing with that.
keep watching for more information about that. There will be in total at least 2 and maybe 3 videos dedicated to that little Vivor.
I think
kiln.
we're going to be really putting it through its paces.
Yep, we have many uses
Yes.
lined up for it, including things like maybe some lost wax casting
Okay.
with metal and stuff like that too.
We'll
So
try
see.
everything.
We'll see.
Alrighty, it's going to be a glaze marathon happening on Tuesday.
You guys are going to be so
Because-
busy.
Normally, we remove our bisque on Monday morning, and I have Monday and Tuesday. Today, the bisque load is probably not even going to come out until about 11 on Tuesday.
Woof. Man, I'd hate to be in here that day. You guys are going to be glazing like crazy. I'm kidding. Of course, I will be glazing.
It's
also.
going to be all hands on deck glazing because those ornaments are going to be coming out.
We gotta glaze them.
All of those ornaments, as well as these little cuties. Look at these.
Yep.
I love these.
Muffin plates.
No,
cupcake plates.
Cupcake or muffin. I think that's just so cute.
awesome.
And then, of course, I have some dessert plates in there, and I love this one.
That's
Square shaped.
fantastic.
And look at that cute doily on that one. I'll show a close up of that. It's a rose pattern.
That's
on the
fantastic.
doily. So very old fashioned looking.
So
It's cute.
we thought we were doing really well. Our last glaze load had 105 pieces in it, and we thought that was an unusual, strange thing. But it looks like there's going to be nearly that, if not more than that.
Yes, probably
in this
more
next
than
one.
that this time.
That's
We'll see.
that's insane.
We'll see. But anyway, we also have a raku firing that has to get done.
Right, I actually have to fire up my steel barrel raku
Yeah.
kiln that Christopher and I made. And like that's important. We got to get that done. That's not an experimental thing.
Right.
We have to get that done. So we may do some raku firing in that tiny little kiln, but we actually have to produce raku pottery, and that means we have to fire up that big steel barrel raku kiln.
And when I went through our inventory, our mugs are getting low again. So today is mug making day, and Monday will be mug making day.
Right, so I'm going to sit down at the wheel and crack out some more mugs out of the Iceman clay. And try to
I'll
do
be
something.
hand building a lot
I'm
of
going
them.
to try to do something a little different with the handles this time because we're just losing too many mugs because of handles.
Well, a lot of times it was because you were really forcing it. One of the things I noticed there, I noticed you were getting more crackage using the Iceman clay on your handles than when you use your Sheltoe clay. And I'm wondering if it's not just you're so much more used to the Sheltoe, and I think it's just a matter of repetition with the Iceman.
It is. I think that I'm putting handles on too wet. I think the handles need to be drier when I attach them. And that means I have to slow down, take my time a little bit, and not try to rush the process, because even if I use a heat gun to dry the outside of the handle so I can pick it up and hold it to attach it, I don't think that it's dry enough in the interior of the handle. And when the moisture levels equalize throughout the handle, that is still much slower drying than the mug itself. I think it's just a matter of practice and a matter of time before I get it dialed in. But I think this next batch of mugs that I'm going to make out of the Iceman, since I believe I know what the problem is, I think I can probably fix that right away. I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. And of course, with the hand building ones, I have so many different mugs that need to be made with all different, like texture rollers and the different stamps that I've designed.
Your piping plover mugs, man,
yes,
you need to make more of those
Yes,
guys.
the piping plover. And I guess I may end up doing a few more of our crab ones. We've had so many.
We
requests.
had somebody come to the market. Was it yesterday? And they are still going on about the crab mug that they purchased from us last year at the market. Yeah. They still use it every day. It's their favorite mug. They love it. We only made like 3 of those, right?
Five.
We made 5 of those, and people love those. So we're going to have to make more of those.
They're a much more time-consuming one, because every bit of that. I mean, I paint them so that they literally look like they came out of the water. Mm-hmm. And so it's lots of layers of underglazes and stuff. So there's a lot more work into the glazing of them. And that's why I hadn't done them in a while, but it's been several people now. And I'm like,
gonna have to make them.
Yes. Yep. I just won't make a lot of them. Mm-hmm. And so anyway, it's going to be a good day of making, though. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fantastic. I'm actually looking forward to sitting down at the wheel and making some mugs.
Yes.
Yep. Anything else we have to talk about?
No, I don't think so. And I'm sure we have been with you guys for a long time, but thank you so much for hanging out with us.
We really do appreciate it. And if you have not yet, please do hit that like and subscribe button. I think we're at 964 subscribers now.
65.
Thank you so much for those of you who have hit that subscribe button. We are trying to climb to 1,000, and we're going to make it within the next couple of weeks. I think we are. So anyway, thanks very much for hanging out with us. If we're finished, let's go ahead and get busy today. We got lots of stuff to do.
Sounds good to me.
All right, guys. Have a fantastic day. Toodaloo, TTFN, ta-ta for now. Take care. See you later. Have a great day no matter where you're at. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.